Or say war.
Hi guys, welcome to the next episode of Road to a Million. We're shooting in my favorite place to shoot, our favorite sponsor, Tata's Hot Sauce Emporium. It's an exciting sponsor who just made a fresh batch of hot sauce. You gotta come and get it while it lasts. It ain't gonna be here for long. Along with this fresh sauce, we got some fresh picks today. I'm so excited to be shooting here today that we're gonna go over some crazy picks that people aren't normally gonna go over. It's gonna sound outrageous, but at the end we're gonna come with a strategy that'll make these crazy picks win. To start off, I'm gonna get into why I decided to do this today. A buddy of mine asked me, where do you bet on esports? Where do you bet on these other sports that I've been pitching the last few weeks? Well, you got to go online. You can't get most of these things out of the stores. There's a million different websites out there, and they all offer crazy picks. I started getting into it. You can bet on anything. And when I say anything, I'm going to go over some crazy picks and why I think they're good. The first one, again, just out of anything, is Danish women's volleyball. You have, and I'm going to butcher these names because, again, these are crazy picks. Frederiksberg and Aalborg. Now, this is crazy, and here's why. When you take a look at this sport, no, you don't know a lot about it. No, I don't know a lot about it. It's Danish women's volleyball. No one knows a lot about it. But their scores are easy to find. When you look at Frederiksberg, they are 5-0 this year. You look at Aalborg, they are 1-4. It's 1.6 to 1.8 odds. Even the betting websites don't know about this. This is an easy pick. If you were to take a team that's 5-0 against this team in the same division that's 1-4, these odds should be way further apart. That doesn't make sense. You can take advantage of that. If that's not crazy enough for you, how about Chinese Soccer Super League? Again, you have crazy odds going on. With soccer, you know you're going to have crazy odds. You have top team right now at JIANGSU Sainti, again, probably butchering that name, who are 4-0-1. They pay 2.4 to win against the SHANGHAI SHENHUA. Again, butchering that name horribly. But their record is 2-1. Now, taking this into more context, you don't necessarily have to be following a sport to bet on it. A lot of people like to bet on things like NFL, basketball, stuff like that, because it's something they watch. It's something they're into. They're going to see the game. That's being a fan. That's getting more involved in the sports you already like. If you're going to take this as a gambler, as a business, you're not looking necessarily at the sports. You're looking at the odds. You're looking at the ratios of wins to losses. How many goals teams score versus how defensively the other team is playing. Which brings us to the next pick. Again, a crazy one, a sport most people haven't even heard of. This is Southeast Asian floorball. Now, I know it sounds ridiculous, but it's a real thing. It's an crazy sport to watch. And when you're actually taking a look at the stats, it's very easy to call. Right now, they have Singapore against Malaysia. They give Malaysia a 10.5 point lead. Okay, so you take them at plus 10.5. Now, I know what you're thinking again. Nobody watches this. Nobody knows anything. But you can simply Google these sports, these leagues, and take a look at the stats. The average point spread on the first day of their tournament this year was 6. Their average point spread over a whole league is about 6.5. The over-under for this is 13. Now, unless Singapore is literally going to pull that over on its own, you know that Malaysia is going to score a couple of points. If you stick to the odds, it makes sense. And if I were talking about NFL and you said, there's a 10.5 differential, people would be all over it because they know it better. Again, this is not about picking sports that you enjoy to watch. This is making some money and taking some crazy picks. Speaking of crazy picks, there's some crazy fights coming up. One of them being Tito ORTIZ versus WWE's Alberto Del Rio Rodriguez. I don't even know how this is a real fight. Like when I first heard, I legitimately thought Tito ORTIZ was going to the WWE, probably fight Brock Lesnar, who knows. It's a real fight. Alberto Del Rio entered an MMA contest. He pays 8.25. Tito ORTIZ pays 8 cents on a dollar. It doesn't make sense unless this whole fight's rigged. Take Alberto Del Rio. 8.25, put $10 on it. Come home with 82.50. You're good. I think that's the only way Tito Ortiz makes his money back after his career. So it's basically going to be a big win for Alberto Del Rio on that one. Another ridiculous bet that you can take is on the Academy Awards. Hear me out on this one. Gambling isn't for everybody. Some people do like the more comfortable pick that they're familiar with. Well, if you're kind of a novice to it, or maybe you want to get your girlfriend in on some of your bets, watch a good movie or two. See which ones you like best. They pay amazing. There's A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, the Mr. Rogers movie, came out featuring Tom Hanks. It pays 17-1 to win. And it's up against people like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That's not going to win an Academy Award. It's going to be a cheesy movie. Why not use that to magnify your odds 17 times? And with odds like that in the Academy Awards, you can afford to make the same ticket 3 or 4 times, and you take the 3 or 4 top picks. They all pay out more than 4. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood pays out 9, and that's the third highest pick. So if you make that card and you pick the top 4, if any one of the previous ones on your card win, you're going to just magnify it at least 9 times. So making multiple cards with one different at the end that comes in last, which is going to be your Academy Awards ending after these sporting events, it's a good pick. Speaking of a good pick, my last one that I'm going to mention is probably going to get people a little heated. It's the U.S. elections. When I say you can bet on anything, you can bet on anything. This Trump right now pays 2.3, and he's the front runner. The next highest is Elizabeth Warren, who pays out 8. You see that gap in there? This is where we take advantage of the bookies, because that's going to end so far in the future. We can place bets with that right at the end. And when you're placing online, a lot of sites give you an option for an early cash out. They'll probably give you the Trump win if you have 2 or 3 other underdogs that come in before it. Use that cash out option. Sometimes you don't even have to wait for someone to win. Trump might not win, but the odds are great. And if they give you half of that, even if they give you like 1.4 off the bat and you don't have to wait, you take that win. That's an easy win. And that's what brings me to our serious side today. There's a lot of things you can bet on. Putting together a good strategy on wins like this that are crazy sports is not impossible. You're taking a look at the odds, a look at their records, and you're comparing them. This is just math. All you have to do is just take it seriously. You start putting a ticket together with a few of these crazy sports, parlay them together, and then put a big one, like the Academy Awards to win 17 times your money with Beautiful Day, right at the end. You don't have to wait for it to win. They'll give you part of that win if your other ones came in. If you're 4 out of 5 and you're just waiting on a big one, these betting sites will cash you out early. Take that money. It's an easy win. You can build up a stack without having to put in so much risk. I know it sounds a little silly to be betting on things like this, but if you take a look at the odds, I think the safest pick this week is actually the Southeast Asian floorball. It just makes sense. There's a gap of 10.5 when they have the over-under at 13. If that were any other sport, it'd be a no-brainer. But you're not familiar with it. You don't have to be. It's math. We're all familiar with a little bit of math, hopefully. So given that, we should be able to make a little bit of money. And just to be comparative, we have New England versus Houston in the NFL. New England is -3 to pay 1.9. -3. That's not even a huge spread, but it's still considered risky. I mean, I would want to bring that even to just New England -1 just to win the game, but that's not really going to pay out too well. But it's something solid that you can bet on, tie it in with something else. It'll be a tricky week, but if you're not afraid to place a bet based on stats instead of your heart, then you might win some money. It's kind of how it works. So again, just to review, there's a lot of crazy picks, a lot of sports out there. Don't be afraid to put $1 or $2 down if you can win big. Special thanks again to our sponsor Tata's for having me over to talk such nonsense today. He's making up a fresh batch of food right now. Like I said, he made up some fresh sauce today, and he's going to be making us a super deluxe from some fresh cocoa bread and some Tata's jerk chicken salad. I can't wait to try some. Stick around after the video. We're going to show a fresh spread for you. Take care.